What's going on, guys? No, just checking in. I'm in my car, but I'm not driving, and today I want to talk about fear. We've all been afraid of something and most likely, we are afraid of something or many things right now. And the relationship we have with that fear is very, very determining into how we're going to get out of them, overcome it, and or get lost in that fear, if that makes any sense. So, of course, I like to talk about it and how it relates to depression, anxiety, affecting change with low testosterone, depersonalization, because those are the things that I have based a lot of my fear around in my life. And I was examining my relationship with fear, and here's what I came up with. And maybe this will be of some use to you, so open your heart to it. Perhaps it can be a positive message for you. But the things that I'm most afraid of, oftentimes I know the least about. And so it brings up this concept of the power of knowledge and how that information about whatever it is you're going through can help you deal with your fear and use it in a positive way. I think when we take on things in life that are very daunting, scary, unfamiliar, such as mood disorders and addiction, stuff like that, we start coming up with our own conclusions about what they mean, how they can affect us, how they will affect us. We look into the future, we look into the past, and we get lost in self. And I know I do this all the time. It's something I still struggle with. And so when I don't know a lot about these things, like when I first got severely depressed, when I had my first panic attack, what have you, I started coming up with all sorts of conclusive decisions based on fear of danger, perceived danger, not information, not facts. And that crippled me. That crippled me and kept me from making the positive changes that I actually did have control over. And the other angle of fear is that when we do have the right information and we learn about the thing that we are afraid of, we identify what is reality and what is fallacy, what is total just bullshit, what can we do about it? When you learn about it, you start feeling more encouraged, empowered, and secure and taking certain steps. And I just think it's really important to identify what relationship do you have with your fear. Is it the type of fear that cripples you from taking action? Or is it the type of fear that can promote positive change, that can actually get you to do something? I think we've all dealt with both, but I think it's really important if you're dealing with something serious in your life to identify which one is ruling you and why, to talk about it. Write it down. Why is it ruling you? What is your relationship? What can you do about that? Another thing that's always been really important to me when I look at the things that I'm afraid of, especially the ones that have been damaging in my life, these fears that keep me completely future tripping and or digging into a past that I can't change, it's the concept that I roll around it is there something I can do about this fear? And if there truly isn't, then it's not about so much overcoming the fear as accepting it. Accepting something you can't change. If there's nothing you can do about what you're afraid of, but you're still afraid of it and you're tripping about it, then you're dealing in worry. And that worry can be crippling and damaging to your recovery from depression, anxiety, and whatever ails you in your life. And you need to find some peace and you need to let that go. Work with someone about turning that over. I think it's really important to identify it. But if it is something that you can change, figure out why you're not changing it. I used to not make certain changes about things I was afraid of because I was afraid that if I did everything required, everything suggested to get out of whatever situation I was in, and it didn't work out, I would be heartbroken and I couldn't handle that sort of disappointment. I was so afraid that I just couldn't handle being let down because I was so sensitive and I was so weak and I was so depressed, so anxious, so ... put whatever you want there, that I wouldn't take action. But that, of course, is counterproductive and it'll keep you there longer. So look at that, write it down is what I'm going to do. And I would never, by the way, anything I talk about, anything I suggest are things that I'm doing and or have done. I don't talk about things in theory usually. I'd really try hard not to. So today I'm going to look at the things that I'm afraid of. And I'm going to figure out why I'm not taking that action. And I'm also going to work on staying in the present. And building off the fact that when I do trust others and when I get out of my own conclusions about how things work, how things will be, if I just look to those that have gone before me and then I turn it over to a higher power, have a little bit of faith, it is almost always better than sitting and doing nothing and just being afraid of things I don't even necessarily understand. And if I can't control it, then it's about letting it go and turning it over, finding some peace in that, because you will. it's a lot easier said than done, but I just want to have you explore that. I just think it's really important that we talk about these sort of things. I think fear keeps depressed people, anxious people in a worse space, and it's important to start tackling those fears one little piece at a time, you know, and being honest with yourself about how they're ruling you and why, and if there's something you can do about it. And so I think I'll just leave it at that. A good friend of mine and very wise man, Douglas Block, once said that he's known a great many worries in his life, none of which have ever come true. So it's really important to keep that in mind, is that we all worry and are fearful of a lot of things. But if it's not the type of fear that is promoting the right type of change in you, you know, like a healthy fear, be like, I don't want to do this in fear of a consequence, you know, whatever gets you going in a positive way, that's great. But if you're worrying about things that have not yet happened, or that you don't know truly anything about, that you have no factual information about, let's see what we can do about accepting those fears, letting them go, and start taking little steps towards learning about them and taking action that's going to free you of them, or at least greatly reduce the burden. So I'm going to do that today. I hope you do too. I hope that makes a difference to you. It certainly has made a difference in general in my depression recovery. And so I think it can for you too. I'm done talking. That's enough out of me. Leave in the comments below, if you feel comfortable being honest about this sort of thing, what is one of your greatest fears? And is there something you can do about it? One of my greatest fears is that I won't be able to stay sober. I'm going to perpetually relapse, and it's going to make my depression and my anxiety an unescapable thing. That is something I do have some say in, and I know that. And that's why I have to every day have faith that if I keep taking little steps, it's going to help me get to that place where I can be secure and not putting depressants into my body, which will give me a good chance at fighting off depression. So that's one of my greatest fears, though, something I have to challenge and use in the positive and not get lost in, and then start reverting to old behavior. So leave your greatest fear, no matter what it is. I want to know. I want us to talk about it. I want us to let it go, release that fear, and empower each other to conquer it, accept it, and do the right things by it and not be crippled by it. Take care, guys.